Ho, 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 and welcome to episode 11 of War Down South, the fortnightly Warhammer podcast from the south coast of the UK, currently in lockdown. I am, as always, your host, and I'm joined this week, as ever, by Mr. Ricky Robson.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho as well. And of course, we're joined this week as well by Mr. Sam Nice, and I'm reliably informed that he is ho-ho-hoing as well. So this week, we've got a Christmas-themed episode where we will be talking about our best Christmases and gifts that we've received that are Warhammer-related, talking through the GW Army Builder and app that was updated in the last week or so, GW's competition with the Battleforge app, and then we'll be answering some questions that you guys have been sending in over the last couple of weeks. We'll round the episode off with a little quick-fire quiz hosted by Ricky for Sam and myself on our general 40k knowledge. So, grab a stiff drink and have a Merry Christmas. Fantastic. Thank you and welcome to our special Christmas edition of War Down South. It's me, Callum, joined as ever by my two wonderful compatriots, Mr. Sam Nice.
Baby, it's cold outside.
And Mr. Ricky Robson.
Ho, ho, ho.
Look at that.
Merry Christmas.
Relatively Christmas themed. Good job, lads.
Yeah, there we go. We nailed it. We nailed it.
That's how we roll. Christmas is done. See you in the new year. Good recording, lads.
No, that's it. No, Christmas is not done because I'm still very excited about Christmas because
Presents.
I love Christmas. I like winning Christmas. I like giving people the best Christmas presents. It gives me warm fuzzies. How are you guys doing this week? You okay?
Yeah, fam. Yeah, good. There are the finish line for 2020 is in sight. I've only got to work 2 more days and I'm done for the year. Who fucking rah?
Yeah, me too. I've got Monday and Christmas Eve.
I've got Monday and Tuesday, and I am going to make no apologies for phoning it in on both of those days.
That's understandable. And how are you getting on, Ricky? You okay?
Working hard.
Working hard.
I'm back in retail, aren't I? So, you know.
I genuinely thought you were going to say rehab for a minute there and drop some serious bombs on it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm ruining everyone's Christmas, aren't I? Because that's what you do in retail, you know.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah,
I mean, ruin my Christmas.
It's not traditional.
It's December 23rd. Why don't you have any turkeys in stock? You've ruined my Christmas.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Not quite.
At least you don't have to be physically face to face with people.
Oh God, no! I can put when you're on a live chat, you have a little preset that says, "Oh, I'm sorry, the fire alarm's just gone off." That happens a lot in my house.
Oh wow, that's a hard look into that industry. Anyways, are you guys excited for Christmas? Obviously, we are currently recording this apparently as there is an announcement happening changing the Christmas restrictions in the UK. So we may have a Merry Christmas afterwards, or we may have 2 Christmases next year. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. But
wow, I like how it's coming out like everything's been planned for, and they've not just invented another number.
Yeah, this was a secret.
Tier 11 teen, you say? Good grief.
Tier Shinty 6? Oh no.
But yeah,
that's Tier Wang.
I'm still excited for Christmas, even if Christmas is just me at home on my own.
See, that's my favourite Christmas. Just me and Alana, shut up, and no fucking relatives. Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, I could go for that. Just me and Mel in the house. We just had a new soundbar delivered, so the music's good.
You can just get the shit out of the cats, though.
Do you know what? They don't mind. They sleep through it. It's quite funny. They don't mind a few tunes, which is quite nice.
That'll be all the cat Valium you put in their chow.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Christmas cheer and enjoying the festivities, what have we got to drink this afternoon? I was going to say tonight. It's not tonight yet. Sam, what have you got?
I'm polishing off an early Christmas present from work. We got, as you well know, sent a little hamper from the boss, and in it was some pale ale, which I'm polishing off with a siding of ibuprofen.
Lovely. Classic combo. What about you, Rick?
Foaming at the mouth. I'm still on the Captain Morgan's. Still a good price. Still smashing it back.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I'll go. I might buy some fancier stuff again, like we started off. But
I have entered the full festive season, and I have a big old
Pink gin.
thermos in front of me, full of hot chocolate made with creme de menthe and Baileys. Because I am a festive man, and it is amazing.
Good man. I thought you were going to say mulled wine, and I was almost going to be like, oh.
I'm not a fan of mulled wine. I sometimes mull some cider. That's good fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind mulled wine, but it smells like an old lady's sock drawer. You know those shit like your nan always puts in a drawer to make it smell nice. It's just a bit. Ugh. Why have you put potpourri in wine and then sat it next to a radiator? Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand.
Yeah, so that's good. I'm enjoying that. I'm not sure it's going to last, but we'll see. It's only 4:00 in the afternoon, but it's pretty dark outside because we just had a storm pass over us. So I'm treating it as 9:00 in the evening.
Hard, didn't it?
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
That's how I treat it. This household is 4:00. That's our drinking time. So 4:00 comes on the weekend, everything comes out.
That's good.
That's
a little
how we roll.
bar that comes out of the wall.
That's it.
Great. Cool. So not a lot of new stuff from GW. Obviously, as we are approaching the Christmas time, apart from randomly the Orc and Grot from Gorka Morka.
Where did that come from? That just
was that an accident, and then they just thought, "Sod it, we'll launch it"?
I'm not sure because they're so it's I can't remember what they're called. The Grot's called Nick It, and that's adorable, and that's all I really care about. But I don't know. I started to see pictures of the box online, and then there was an announcement saying, "Oh yeah, they're going to be available from Boxing Day in stores," and then a couple of weeks later after that, essentially, they're going to sell the remainders on their website, which is really cool.
Oh, okay.
I did see that someone had ordered the festive Bugman, and they opened it up, and there was an Orc and a Grot on the inside of the box.
Yeah, that's what I heard had happened.
So I can imagine the excitement of getting a model that nobody has actually seen and held before, but also not having the model that you wanted.
Yeah. Well, it's Games Workshop, isn't it? It's first class customer service. They will literally just be like, "Oh,
yeah." Maybe because of that one mistake, everybody's getting that Orc early. Think about it that way.
I would imagine that's what it is.
The little old lady who packed that box
is fired.
Yeah, she's fired.
She was tarred and feathered in the Warhammer World car park and sent out to face Tier 4. Taking the long walk.
But so that's
those ibuprofen are kicking in well, aren't they?
so that's good. Other than that, obviously not a lot of new releases. I picked up the K-Knight Shadow Stalkers, the new Warcry warband, last week too.
Oh,
to make some Drakari characters out of.
Been carving those up a treat then.
I opened the cellophane today, and then realised that I had to do this. So,
you mean at 3:15 when I went?
Oh yeah, we're recording.
Oh, yeah. We're supposed to be doing this.
We're recording on a Saturday instead of a Friday, and it's thrown me entirely out of whack.
My fault. Sorry.
But yeah, I haven't done anything to them yet. But hopefully over the next couple of days and couple of weeks, because 2 days off, and then I don't have to do any work till the 4th of January. So
winning.
So other than that, big Games Workshop news is we finally got an army builder on the app. It's only taken 5 months since the app was released, but I've been having a play about with it, and it's quite good.
Tell us all about it.
It cost someone It cost someone a job, didn't it?
I heard
on Twitter.
I don't know.
I don't know how real that is.
I don't know. I don't know what was going on with that.
I'd take it with a pinch of salt, to be fair. It's the interweb world.
And all those people don't like the app anyway. So, I mean...
Well, that's what happens when the company fires them. They get a bit grumpy.
But yeah, I've been having a play about with it. Like, cards on the table, I don't really like Battlescribe. A, because it's a leech on GW's IP. But in the past, I have used it, and it is a really useful tool for knocking armies together. But the export and the output of it is the worst thing I've ever seen. It's like when you used to go to a tournament and you used to have to print off your army list and give it to your opponent, and then like people used to give you like Excel spreadsheets of their stuff. No, I don't want that. Just type the words and numbers, you lazy sod. But the Battlescribe output is worse than that. I can remember playing I can't remember if it was at a GT or at like Caledonian Uprising or something, and someone handed me their army list and it was like 9 pages because they just printed out everything.
The thing with Battlescribe is you don't have to have that shit output, but literally every time I've been handed one at a tournament by someone, like, why are you doing this to me? What have I did I like shit in your cereal or something? Because you've literally chosen the worst possible format.
I don't want to say it's because that's the format that prints out all the stats and rules for everything you're using, and that those people probably don't have their codexes.
It is.
But
there it is.
Regardless, had a play about the GW one. There's already been a couple of updates to it, so it's currently in. So you have to subscribe to it, but you get your first month free at the moment, and you can cancel at any time. But GW are asking for feedback on bugs or stats, points values and stuff.
Of course, it's a beta phase.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean,
kinda.
Yeah, it is kind of a beta, and it's like when you're looking at the amount of variance in data and rules and stuff that exists in a game like 40k, it's impossible for them to test that in-house. It just is. I mean, Sam and I work for a software company. Neither of us actually directly work with software, but there have been times where I am an end user of that software, and I've been asked to test like a portion of.
Yeah, it's what they call in the biz user acceptance testing.
Yeah, user acceptance test. So because I use it, I can figure out things that are wrong with it. And usually there's like a list of these little things that we've changed, and then I have to test every variant on something that might impact. And like there can still be other stuff wrong because the developers or something might have cocked something else up elsewhere. Now when you're thinking about, you've not just got a set of procedures to follow, like whenever I've done it. You've got actual stats and like lines of text to have specific wordings that have to match a rulebook and or an FAQ. Like it's got to be farmed out to the end users. So I can understand why people are like, well, you shouldn't have the opportunity to pay for it until it's ready. But whatever, this is how it works, and it's currently free. And I like it. The output's really simple. It's like a Word document, essentially. It gives you a list of the unit.
Yeah. Anything
that is an option that you have taken is listed, so any basic war gear isn't.
Okay, so say bolt gun, no, but if you gave him a bolt rifle that you had to pay for...
That's sort of like the new point section in the codexes.
Yes, exactly. You pay for the unit as is, and then...
Basically, what's always asked for a tournament and no one ever gives. Yeah. Well, yes, you do.
I heard received, but yes.
And then it gives you the unit's end point value, which is really cool. And I don't want to be. I know. Well, I already am. Shield for GW, but it is really good. I've not encountered any major issues with it, but I've not really been trying to. So obviously there may be still stuff wrong with it, but if people give the feedback, then it will get better.
I mean, like you, I can't stand Battlescribe. I think it's absolute AIDS. It's never right. And from a TO point of view, the amount of lists that come in that when you specifically ask for it not to be in Battlescribe format, just because it's difficult for people to read. I send half back almost every single time, and it's not right. That's the biggest issue. It's like you export from that format, which okay, fine, take out the rubbish, but go back, correct all your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
like it's just always annoying.
What people have been able, because I had a conversation with one of our friends about it this week, and I can understand that Battlescribe filled a gap in the market because there wasn't a functional army builder at that.
There actually is, but what people don't want to do is pay money.
You can buy a subscription to Battlescribe and to support it. But what I mean is that there's not a Games Workshop licensed one, or there wasn't.
No, so what I'm talking about is Quartermaster, which is available, and that's user built, but it's also user editable. Yeah. So someone can make a template, you can export that template. So someone can sit there on their TOD like Battlescribe and create the whole thing, and then it gets launched out to you. But when I download those, and then because I use it, when all the points updates come in, I just go into the templates of it and update all the templates. So I can do that myself. So any errors that I can see, I can just sort them. It doesn't actually have to sit and wait for someone else to do it. It's a good little app, but you have to pay for that. But it's a one-off payment.
Yeah, so I mean, like my major problem with it is that because it's the sort of thing that's like not a licensed by GW thing, the chances are that it can be wrong. And
it has been many times,
and it has been. But like I'm never going to say there's somebody sat there who updates the files is deliberately getting it wrong. But like stuff can get wrong, and what people have been able to do with the output from Battlescribe is really good. So, for example, you can export your list to best coast pairings, and it tells you whether or not it's legal. And as long as you've got it in the right format, that's fine. Or you do what I did, and where I updated a list for a tournament via Battlescribe onto best coast pairings, I missed a piece of war gear that I'd actually submitted on my army list, and then I didn't actually have it for part of the tournament. Doesn't matter. But yeah, just I mean, it is what it is. I will use the GW one because it looks better. It's quicker to use. There are things about it that I wish that they would add. Like I would like a duplicate button. I'd like to be able to spam my units. Because I play in tournaments. We need to be able to do. But like actually going forward with it, like I don't have a problem with the stuff that's currently wrong with it because that will get fixed. I'm really excited to see what they want to do in the future. Like I would love for once we get tournaments back, there to be the ability to Bluetooth file transfer your army list to somebody else's phone or someone else's app. Because there's lots of functionality on phones now where you can literally tap them together and like share files. Or like money or even charge, even battery. So like imagine if you're at a tournament and you go, oh, can I see your list? Bing, tap phones together, and then you can just look at your opponent's list on your phone. How amazing would that be?
Yeah, 100%.
Like blew my mind that I thought of that.
No, it's good. It's good. I'd love it to be a format that you could use in a tournament. I mean, GW absolutely. Will 100%. They'll say.
I mean, I don't think they'll make it a requirement because it is a paid service. But
no one's going to spend any money. No. You can't expect everyone.
But I like it. Hopefully, it becomes a staple of people using it, and to get people using it, the first month's free at the moment. And if you share an army list on like Twitter or Instagram or email GW directly, if you don't have either of those two platforms, they're giving away 5 armies up to £1,000 built out of those Battlescribe lists. Not Battlescribe. God damn it, I've done it now. Battle Forward lists.
What?
So I submitted mine. I was like, that would be cool. This is something that I'd like to do, but I've never got around to thinking about. So I shared one. And I'd encourage people to download it and give it a try because it is cool. It is pretty. And if it doesn't work, tell them. And then it will get fixed. And then it'll be good. That is how this
stuff works.
But
Things get fixed when you tell people there's a problem.
Other than that, you guys been up to any hobby the last week or so, 2 weeks?
I think since the last recording, I've finished one Aqualon Terminator completely. The other two are just missing, like finding these like gems and like their little daggers, and then their guns. I think that's literally it. And then the base, and then that unit's actually done.
Nice.
I just had a busy week, unfortunately. Adult stuff.
Yeah, I've done a little bit myself. Been started work on painting up the Blight Kings I'm using for Possessed. I'm a little bit in love with the models. I think it might be one of my favourite of GW's kits for quite a long time. There's so much in the box. I love them. They're just as nurgly as they need to be. They might be my favourite Nurgle models, I think.
Yeah, and I see that you've smashed a few bits and pieces from the Death Guard kits onto them.
Yeah, I've seen a few people doing it, and I was going to put more stuff on them, but then they're largely naked. So I've seen like a few people like hammering on like marine backpacks and stuff onto them, but there's only like 2 models that have
it doesn't need that
an armor plate that you would attach that to.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to have naked fucking monsters.
On the back of that, actually, Sam, I'll personally send you a picture of a Death Guard standard bearer I did probably 8-9 years ago. I took his backpack off. I made him out of the the Nurgle champion who's got the big axe, where he has it down by his arms down by his side. The axe crosses him. I made a Space Marine out of him, and for a backpack sort of thing, I sculpted like bulging, muscly flesh and stuff on the back, which is fairly easy to do with Nurgle. But I just stuck loads of like plasticard tubes in, which I'd cut up to make it look like
that's pretty
bone style vents. So you can and it gives a more still a bit of a futuristic Space Marine rather than it's quite cool. I'll ping you a photo
I wasn't
too if it's any.
I wasn't too fussed,
consolation
because most of my army is going to be Poxwalkers, regardless of what happens to them when the new book finally drops. They're like, oh no, I want to.
All right, I won't bother then.
Fucking Jesus!
This is what happens when you say no to him once he's been showing off. Yeah,
oh dear,
hissy.
Yeah, because most of my stuff's going to be naked plebs anyway, so they sort of fit at the moment. Like the most armored things are going to be the characters and the blob of blight lords.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah, good stuff there. I've done nothing.
What about
I've done
you?
No hobby stuff. I was painting some witches, and then decided I didn't like the color scheme I was doing the armor. So.
In fairness, it seems that our Project Moose Ride has taken a little bit of backbone for most people. We
are entering.
It's Christmas.
Oh my god, I've got to sort everything for Christmas. But after today's announcement, maybe not.
Well, yeah, you see Project Moose Ride literally.
No, I was going to say,
that guy the machine.
Noel's been cracking on with it, but also,
listeners, Noel was complaining that no one sent him any dick pics when we asked him to. So please make an effort to send Noel the dick pics.
So since we launched it, Mr. Ben Counter has done 10 Intercessors, 10 Relic Terminators, a Relic Terminator Captain, Sergeant Kronos in a Predator and Sergeant Kronos on foot, a Primaris Tech Marine,
Christ alive,
an Invicta Warsuit, an Impulsor Executioner, and a Gladiator.
I cried child labour.
Yeah. Ben's clearly running a sweatshop. Child labour, let's go.
I think it's probably because he's a writer.
Yeah, this isn't normal.
Anyway. So it's probably that. But the stuff looks beautiful. He keeps sending me pictures. He's like, I've done more. And I'm like, it's beautiful. Damn it now.
I finished 4 single minutes.
It's lovely, Ben. Please don't make me feel bad.
But that's really cool. Yeah, so yeah, I've done. Yeah, Ben.
So Ben's smashing us all. Ben and Noel
taking the
literally
mooses
smashing Project Moose
from the rest of us
out of the park.
And have now got their own moose chariots.
Seeing as this is our initiative, yeah, we need to.
That's all right. That's all right. It'll all come to fruition when like the hard-working guys, when we all get together, when we're all done for a big Project Moose Ride gaming day, we'll batter the fuck out of them.
Yeah, that's. I was going to say that's,
and then we'll play some
that nerd.
There's all these guys with these really pretty armies, but I'll just try and beat them, and we'll try and go that way. But that's pretty cool.
Although Ben might use super silky smooth voice on me, and then I'll be like, "Oh, Mr. Counter! Oh, he's won! Oh."
Anyways, so that's really good. So, any of our listeners who are currently on the Moose Ride or who want to crack on and join us, please just feel free. Continue to send us pictures. We'll ask for stuff over the Christmas period. We know everybody doesn't get all of this time off at Christmas, so understandable if you don't have the time. But I do, so I might actually get some stuff done for it, which would be really cool. Great. So we're going to take a short break just to avoid any technical issues, and we will join us again for a second whilst we go over our favourite best Warhammer Christmas memories. Stay tuned. Awesome. Thanks for waiting for a second there whilst we had a quick wee break for our older podcasters. Something that sort of people have been sharing online. What was the best Warhammer-related Christmas or Christmas present that you ever had? Let's start with Sam.
I've got a tie between two because I used to avoid asking relatives hobby-related stuff because inevitably they would just get it wrong. Yeah. So there were two where everything aligned perfectly, and I can't really choose. Although because my birthday's so close to Christmas, I can't remember whether it was actually Christmas or my birthday. I count them as the same thing because it's like 2 days apart. But there was one where I think it was a very long time ago where
back in the day,
all the cool like new NID stuff had come out, and this is like second edition, so everything's in purple boxes. So my instructions were, if it looks fucked up and then there's a purple box, you're buying the right thing. There was that one, but then the other one that I really anticipating was the year they released Gorka Morka, and I knew I had that as a gift. That box, there was so much coolness in that box.
I can imagine that was a difficult wait. Like knowing that you've got something like that must be like awful if you're excited about it.
Yeah, I for a good couple of weeks, I was just fully that meme where that kid looks like he's having a shit. He desperately wants to say something. I looked like that for a good couple of weeks, just staring at this box under the tree.
Awesome.
Oh, bless.
You, Ricky?
I mean, I haven't had any Christmas presents Warhammer related absolutely forever. One of the best ones was Mel did manage to get, I think it was my 30th. She got me a load of stuff, which was cool. But Christmas-wise, I think the best, I'm with you, Sam. I think I just started in the hobby about 96. And it was the Christmas of 96 that Dad bought me Gorka Morka. And that's where because I'd started with Undead in Warhammer back when I was about 10/11, and Gorka Morka just started coming out, and I think he bought me that for Christmas, and that started me, I think, on the 40k path.
Yeah,
because effectively it was just 40k, but you were an orc driving around in a buggy.
Driving around the desert in a buggy.
Exactly.
And it had that massive like card orc fort in it. That it was just.
I still have the books here.
If they ever re-release it, I will shit my pants. I kid you not.
I still have it all. I still have my metal orc warband. I have my muties. I've got my diggers. My diggers.
The retirement fund then.
Yeah. And I've still got the original of the orc that they've just re-released. And that was given to me by Dazza. Funny enough, he just gave it to me. I think he had it. I think it was his. He painted it up, and he just gave it to me. And it's still here, sat in a box, doing its years in
solitary.
Growing in. Yeah,
I mean, he was probably hammered at the time.
Probably, but Gorka. I think Gorka Walker is. I think it was probably about the Christmas of '96.
Yeah, and there was so much in that box, wasn't there? Like what was it? Like 2 buggies, 2 war tracks, and like a bajillion orcs. And they were all really cool. Like you could everyone had like John Woo orc in it in their game.
Oh, the one with the 2 pistols.
The guy with the 2 6-shooters. Yeah.
On the flip flop bases.
Yeah. Oh, that was the only thing I didn't like about that box.
You had to fit them all in an orc track.
Yeah. The bases were great for fitting it onto like the tracks and the trucks, and you could literally do what you wanted to those fucking trucks.
But when you made John Woo orc, unfortunately, he wouldn't stand up.
No.
The pains of the youth.
Sad times. Please read.
What about you, Callum? You started about 2014, didn't you?
Not quite.
When 57.
No, so I was quite lucky, obviously. Divorced parents, so two sets of Christmases, which means double Warhammer presents every year when I was a kid.
Okay, I'm glad that's where this is going.
Buy me guilt toys, parents.
So I can remember, like, because I started with Middle Earth, and played that for a couple of years, and then when I started playing games at GW Portsmouth, I started playing Warhammer Fantasy. So there was a year where I got I think it was the year so it must have been Christmas 2003, maybe, when Lizardmen were done in 6th edition, and a load of the current like Saurus and stuff were released. And I got like a.
Is this when they made them with the like tortoise style shell shield?
Yes, yeah. Still the current Saurus models.
I suppose still the current models, yeah.
So I'd started a Lisbon army and was like buying stuff with pocket money. But my mum bought me a Stegodon, and then my dad bought me a Carnosaur. That was really cool.
Good man.
But I had an absolutely stonking Christmas haul 2 years later. So just normal Christmassy bits from my mum. Went to my dad's, and there was a big box under the tree. Big toy box. Also, lots of other smaller, decently sized boxes, and I was very excited because I didn't have any idea what was in it. So I opened the big box first, and that had the limited edition, like brand new the week before or whatever, Ogre Kingdom's launch army set in it.
Shit, man!
So that had like the limited edition, like Bruiser. And like the brand new book that wasn't actually going to be released until like January the next year. So this must have been 2004, Christmas 2004, because they were released in 2005. So obviously they used to produce these big army sets.
They did, yeah.
And then release them, and then a couple of weeks later or the next month you'd get like the army book, and they'd start to sell it all individually.
So it was always a time anyone who bought those boxes was always ahead of the game.
So I had that. So that had like a Tyrant in it, a Bruiser in it, like loads of Ogre Bulls, some Iron Guts, some Yetis, like all of the Nobblers, the army book. And that was really cool. And obviously I was like madly excited about this because I used to love playing Warhammer Fantasy, especially 6th edition. And then I was like, oh, well, we're in these smaller boxes. These must be like, you know, deodorant, socks like,
and pants. Yeah.
So I opened one, and it's a Forge World box. I'm like, oh, what is this? And it had one of the mounted Greater Narlocks in it for for my burgeoning Kroot army. And then I subsequently opened 2 more boxes that were exactly the same to have 2 more Greater Narlocks. I had 3. And that was amazing. And then I got loads of bits for my Kroot army at the same time as well. So there were another couple of boxes of just generic Kroot. And then there were bits from the GW mail order service, so I could make the the winged Kroot and some of the Kroot that were mounted on like baby Narlocks, which you used to build out the old plastic cold ones. So I just got this like a massive amount of like Kroot stuff that would have been a good Christmas present on its own, and then like a brand new Warhammer Fantasy army with my ogres as well.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, that was a great Christmas. I was just like,
your dad smashed.
Oh yeah, he won that Christmas,
and he's won every Christmas since. So
yes, that was really cool. I was just like, oh my god, I've got all this stuff. No idea. Like, I imagine he just went into GW Portsmouth and was like, "Oh, I'm Callum."
Callum,
and then the staff just upsold him the.
You boy,
upsold him the. well, I don't know about that. Because I had asked for the Kroot stuff, or I was like, "Oh yeah, I'd like one of these from Forge World," and then he clearly phoned them and asked how many I could have or whatever, and they said we can have 3 in a unit, so he bought 3. He's an absolute hero. And then I asked for all these specific bits and stuff because I wanted to build that army. But the Ogre Kingdoms, he must have just been like, "Oh, so I've got to order all this stuff and I don't have it now. What's that?" And then just bought that as well. So you could come home and be like, "Haha, I have actually done Christmas shopping," and then wraps that, I imagine. So that was great. That was a great Christmas.
That was good Christmas indeed.
Yes, I must have been 13, I think. Yeah. So very good Christmas.
13-year-old Callum.
Stop thinking about it.
When he still had hair.
Yeah. That's very true.
Oh, even when we were talking the other week, when I was doing a throwback to Conflict Norwich, which was only 4 years ago. Callum had hair then.
Yeah. I've only been
ravaged by time recently.
This has only been this has been the last 4 years since I've just started shaving my head. It's 4 years because you've been married for 4 years, haven't you, Sam?
Yes.
Yeah, you said that with confidence.
He said convincing.
I know you've been married for 4 years.
She doesn't listen, does she?
She sat next to him.
No.
Luckily, he's got his headphones in.
Making sure she writes it. Yeah.
But it was at Sam's wedding that someone took a picture of the back of my head. Because
shout out Paul Cook.
I was like, So it was that Christmas that I was in the Amazon Boxing Day sales. I ordered myself a hair clippers. It was I got to get rid of this now.
Was that the same year that I took a picture of you at a company function and put Michael Bay lens flare on the back of your head?
No.
Was that the same year?
We weren't working together then.
Oh no, it must have been
that was the year before. That was the year before we started working together. So I've been working where we are now for 3 years.
Must have been a year later then.
It's been the year before that. So now everybody knows my boldness origin story, which is really good. Coming in 2023. Netflix.
Featuring
who's playing you?
Michael Stipe.
I just told
you. Anyway, did we get any responses to people's best Christmases online when we asked for it?
Let me scroll.
Hold on.
Yes, I've got a couple on Facebook.
Yes.
I know we did. So good job.
Oh, cheers. I'm trying. This used to be my job once upon a time.
We'll let Rick take the reins then because he's trying so hard.
Oh, okay, cool. So what we got? We got two responses, which is cool. And so friend of the show, friend of life, friend of childhood, friend of adulthood, Mr. Pete Jarman. So what did he say? So he said, so his best Christmas. So we obviously asked you guys, what was your best GW-based Christmas present? So Pete comes back with, mine was the original Necromunda. Good choice. Well done. I knew I was getting it, and I remember taking a scalpel to the wrapping paper and surgically removing both rule books from the box so I could read up on it before putting them back in and sealing everything back up. No one said,
this is some Mission Impossible shit.
Isn't it? Like, you can imagine Pete suspended from a ceiling, scalpel in hand, pulling his Christmas present from under the tree and surgically removing
what I hope
to
has
have a
happened
read.
is that Pete was just oblivious to the fact that everyone watched him do this at the time. They were like, let's not tell him.
Yeah.
Let's not tell him we
Imagine.
know.
Poor Pete.
Yeah, but that's pretty great. The original Necromunda stuff is awesome.
And
I assume that was the
it is
again a little bit before my time, but I imagine that was all the black and yellow chevroned everything. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
correct,
yeah.
And then I think they updated it with, obviously you had the Outlanders expansion, and then I think they put this is really testing now, the Outlander expansion and the Necromunda stuff in one big fat hardback. And then they launched the later, I'm looking at it now on my bookshelf somewhere, the later, thinner Necromunda book where they started
that's when they started redoing all the models and stuff.
Yeah. I remember, again, that was one of those
it. When
boxes
was
that
that?
had just a metric ton of stuff in it. And then
That's
all
it.
the
So
Goliaths and all
the
that.
remake was circa 2003. Yeah. Long time ago.
9 editions of 40k, 3 of Necromunda.
Well, that's it. When a game works,
Exactly.
why change it? Eh?
And the first and second ones were pretty much exactly the same.
They didn't change much. I think
rules.
they just updated. And the way a few things worked due to, like, I think what they figured out from 40k, like blast weapons and stuff like that, I think was more the bigger changes.
Yeah, really cool. Used to love playing games in Necromunda at GW Portsmouth.
Yeah, we used to run a few campaigns. It was good times.
So that's really cool. Anybody else divulge their Christmas past?
Yeah, another good listener, Ashley Elliott. So what does he say? The first year I started collecting, I got loads, including Asdrubal Vect. Good man. I love Vect.
Yeah.
I remember being so excited to put Vect together, and we didn't have super glue.
Oh.
That's unfortunate.
And that would have been before the days of
savage.
Before the days of next day delivery, regardless of when you order things.
And Amazon Prime, and
it's where you turn looking at your dad with fucking Puss in Boots eyes, and he's like, "No, I don't have any." And then you're like, "Oh, what sort of man are you, father?" It's the first time someone loses disappointment in their dad.
or gives them the 2 tubes of araldite. It's like, I don't want to put my together.
Jesus. I think I know some people that have.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And so I just thought that would be quite a nice little trip down memory lane, because we're pretty much a nostalgia fest here anyway.
Nostalgia is good.
No point.
It's a hobby that delivers from the past and delivers.
Although, speaking of nostalgia, saying that, actually one of our friends and listeners popped us a message this week. Mr. Pete Jarman's current project is he's scratch building a classic Warhammer Quest set. So everything's got like plasticard bases that he's etching like the original cardboard bases and stuff. And he's currently on the scrounge, excuse me, for loads of the new doorways in the new Warcry set, because they're based on the original Warhammer Quest stuff. We put together some Minotaurs recently in the poses of the old classic Warhammer Quest ones, and it's a labour of love, and I can't wait to see him crack on.
A labour of love and neglect.
He's got a couple, I think, now. But that's cool stuff, and I can't wait to see a little bit more of that. Cause,
just keep crying. I'm gluing this. Hold on.
I love I know that it was naff and required loads of bolt-ons and rules and ad-hoc rulings. But Warhammer Quest was great.
Oh,
Quest
Questy,
was-
yeah. I had it on the iPad for ages. I loved it because you could download it for a couple of quid, I think, at some point. And obviously, it's not the same as the miniature form, which I never actually played, but I had good fun in computer form.
Well, you used to run one for us at Warhammer Portsmouth, didn't you? Games Workshop Portsmouth back in the day, didn't you, Sam? We built
Yeah.
We built all of the tiles out of bases and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I wish I still had that.
I'm glad you said
crate.
Sam.
Yeah.
Like,
We spent a couple of weeks just manufacturing mountains of dungeon tiles. Like me, Callum, Dazza gave a bunch to us that he had already made, and we kept it all in the case. We made the mistake of lending it to a local club, and it never ever came back. So
there was only one club at the time. Okay. I understand.
But yeah, that was great because that sort of evolved from a or into a sort of Warhammer Quest plus RPG plus Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay plus whatever. Yeah, it is RPG. Yeah, yeah, sort of more like a free flow. I used to like our like open world games.
Yeah. I went on the hunt for every community written expansion to Quest I could ever like the Quest library I used to have was just vast, and someone had spent a good deal of time into translating it onto like open tabletop rather than dungeon, so you could like physically lay shit out, and it was good fun.
I can remember the first the first run through we did. At the end of it, we all pulled our like treasure cards and did our treasure rolls, and I rolled and then rolled and rolled because of good rolls to get further rolls on better tables. It was like, this chest contains Galmaraz. No,
well done. We're one mission in. No, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, because that's where Galmaraz sits.
So my Bretonian knight wasn't allowed Galmaraz. So
not because it would have unbalanced the early stages of the game we were playing. It was more that knight couldn't be trusted with it.
He was just too much of a pussy. all right.
Yeah, those are some good times. Cool. Do we have any more? Well, I know that we've got some more questions from people that we were asked this week.
We do indeed. Do you want to handle this, Rick, or do you want me to do it? I do have this one ready.
Go for it.
I will start at the bottom of the list in what I'm guessing is reverse order. Mr. Darren Gwynn, what is your worst opponent story from a tournament?
Oh, no. That's a good one. No.
Worst opponent.
I've played so many arseholes that I'm probably going to need like a bit of time to think. So somebody else go first.
One that always comes to mind, and it wasn't that far. This was recent. This was the last Warhammer World GT that we went to. Was it, or was this the final? No, this was the final. So it wasn't the last one. So it was the heat I qualified with my Harlequins, and then I went to the final, unfortunately, without you chaps. I went on my own, and I met up with the chaps from Pomley Pirates.
Dave and
and James. And I didn't realise they were going, so that was quite nice. I wasn't actually on my own, so pretty much hung around with them for the weekend, which was cool. And ironically, James was actually on the table next to me, and he was doing what he was doing, and I'm playing my game. And this was I put in Elliott Knight Spear and Jane's R into my Harlequin list to have a bit of character killing, punchy, and mob punchingness at the time. And I played this chap who was using Craft Worlds, and he was literally the most condescending bloke I think I've ever played in my life. And he was just like, he had some really dirty rolls, which, it happens, it's a game, and ended up killing most of my units of Skyweavers with a couple of Crimson Hunters. And And I think the worst thing about that whole thing is it's not the fact that what he did; it's the fact that he turned around to me and went, "That was really big for you, wasn't it? That's lost you the game." And I'm just looking at him thinking, it's turn 2, and okay, you've killed them. But to turn around to me and say something like that, I was genuinely like,
Did you get him?
You're an arsehole.
Please tell me you got him.
I know
Boo.
I lost because it was exactly what he said. But to turn around and rub it in my face, I was genuinely like, you're an arsehole. and that still sits in my mind to this day. Like, he was an absolute tool. And then chose to give me his dice at the end of it, saying, a bit of a memorial for this game. And walked off.
See, like, sometimes you can't help it. Like, sometimes you are. Yeah. Like, I've had games where, like, you've been absolutely stomping someone, but you don't want to come off as an asshole because, like,
yeah.
Like, I had one of the GTs we went to. I was stomping Beard from Tabletop Tactics, and he's such a lovely guy, but like, my Tau army was just scraping his Chaos Marines off the table, and it wasn't fun. And I was just like,
oh no.
Well, let's try and be funny with it, and luckily he was right. But like, when you're just sort of, do I just make him take that off as well? Shall I? Yeah, all right then. But it's just like, but yeah, you don't just turn around. There's a difference between.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry, that was really big. Yeah.
That's what I find myself doing a lot. I apologise to people, and in the past I've gone, don't apologise, it makes it worse. And you're like, well, then I don't know how I feel now. Apologising carry on
does make it worse, I think. But also, apologising isn't as bad as going, you've now lost.
Yeah.
yeah.
My dice, your forehead.
He was a bit
stack away from the table.
In fairness, his opponent was put him in the grave before me. So
Jesus Christ. Okay, Ricky's not bitter about that game at all.
At least I've got
that. See, I've always been fairly lucky. Like, I hear so many horror stories from tournaments where people have run into arseholes, but I've never actually had to play a total fucking tosser. Like, there've been a couple of eye rolly moments.
Charm.
And I think there was.
I think that's what it is.
There was one moment at a tournament in Brighton where someone was interviewing a very well-known player, and I could very clearly be seen in the background going, "Ugh," and rolling my eyes every time he spoke. Worst opponents. I think there's only one. Actually, there's two instances. There's one that's not 40k related, where I was helping our local gaming store. Shout out to Bumfull of Fist. With a Batman miniatures game day back before Night Models decided to alienate their player base by revising the rules 500 times in a year, where one guy turned up that smelt so bad I was dry heaving in the store, and the guys that run it had to come and see me outside and be like, "We're very, very sorry. We're very, 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 very sorry." So the guy in question was
Steve Morris.
No. Funnily enough, no. Morris was a summer breeze compared to this. Like, I cannot describe like, poo was definitely involved, and like, when you smell something so bad, it instantly dries out your sinuses and the backside of your eyeballs. Like, it was so bad. Please, gamers, please wash, especially during the heat wave. Please. Like the guys that run the store were so apologetic. We're like, "We're sorry you've nearly vomited all over our store. We've asked him to go and have a wash. He said his shower broke last week. That's not a week's worth of dirt. It's just not." Wonderful. But 40k related, it was at War of the Roses.
Yeah, where are we going?
It was at War of the Roses up at Sanctuary, and I don't use the word dweeb lightly, but I hadn't seen my opponent around the entire weekend, and someone came shuffling up to me wearing a blazer, and I was like, "Oh, here we go." He's like, "Hello." So, "Oh, hi." He's a pleasant enough guy. He's like, "Shall we just have fun?" Instantly, my brain was like, "This isn't going to be fun at all." And he's like, "Yeah, so let's just do it sort of loosely." I was like, "Okay, but can we play by the rules, sort of thing?" So I know where this conversation is going. Like the board we were on had ridiculously oversized terrain. He's like, "Yeah, let's just say it's a low gravity world, and I can move from the bottom of this structure to the top." I was like, "Well, that's 2 foot tall." I was like, he was like
I wasn't.
No. He was like,
just
"So I can move from the bottom to the top with one move." I was like, "Your guardsman has a 24-inch move." He was like, "Oh yes, it's a low gravity." I was like, "No, just let's just nip this in the bud now. I don't want to be that guy, but you're clearly one of those guys. Let's just play by the rules." Oh, all right then. I was like, just fuck my life. Why couldn't I just have an asshole?
You ruined
You were
that
the
guy's
arsehole.
weekend. You know that?
Yeah. Oh shit! I'm the arsehole.
You were the arsehole, yeah.
Fucking
Imagine if we interviewed him,
This guy
he'd say, "Oh, this
Ruined
guy."
my
I
imagination.
think his name was Sam
yeah,
Knight.
he ruined my imagination
He
and disregard
ruined-
for the rules of the game that we were playing.
Yeah, he wasn't nice at all.
Well, actually, no. There was another guy. There was a guy that I absolutely fucking stomped at one of the Brighton events, one of the GT heats, Brighton Warlords. Absolutely fucking romper stomped him, and he was on a podcast, and they were asking him about his games, and it got to our game, and he completely skipped over. He was like, "Yeah, it's just some guy. He had some Grey Knights and Inquisitor, and just skipped over the game." I was like, "No, I fucking ruined you, you bastard! Tell him how bad you were."
Is it because he called you?
Yeah.
Is it because he
Yeah,
called
fuck
you
him.
some guy?
I mean, I can't
Is that what it
remember
was?
his name.
You were just some
but-
guy that day.
Fuck him. But he went into so much detail about every other game that he won, apart from ours, where I fucking battered him. And he couldn't even remember my name.
Yeah, boy.
He remembered everyone else's. He knew. He fucking knew.
I fucked him that day. And he didn't even remember my name.
Didn't even buy him dinner.
I beat Frankie from the old 40k UK podcast in the first round of the first War of the Roses we went to. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because obviously this isn't my one, but it is from War of the Roses. And War of the Roses was one of the, I think it was the fundraiser for the England fundraisers for the England ETC team. Not to tar people who have anything to do with the ETC team with this particular brush. But he did exactly the same thing to me. They asked him about his first game of the event, and he forgot my name. Said, "Oh yeah, I just lost on kill points." And we had two very similar Tau armies, and I just played much better than him. And then he didn't play day 2 of the tournament because you couldn't win it. Which is pretty cool. And so my first one, my worst one was this. I think it was the second time we went to War of the Roses, and this was I think it was a member of the England ETC team. I won't name them because that's not very nice. But they were using one of the demon formations where you could have you had to take up to like 9 units of screamers, and so it was a screamer star with all of these screamer units flying around. It did loads of automatic like strength 4 hits on you, and then set you on fire and stuff. But none of his screamers had bases, so they were literally just laying on the floor. He didn't have enough screamers in his army to fill his army list, so he just kept units of screamers in reserve and then just waited for them to die to bring them in. And he had a unit of exalted flamers, which there was a model for, and they were just that's the
that's a big boy,
and you could take them chariot. As I can't remember what choice they were or how you used to get them into an army list. I think it was because he was using the big demon formation, but he essentially had 9 of them. and they were all independent characters. So they all joined into a unit with each other, but they were just the regular flamer models. And and at the start of the game, I was like, why doesn't any of your things have bases? I was like, I don't need on flying stands. I was like, you need bases, yeah. And it was just like everything in the game was an absolute struggle. I was never going to win the game because a Tau army couldn't get through an invisible Death Star with a literal 2-up rerollable invulnerable save. And it was just like, I'm not being awkward. I would just like your model to know where your models actually are. And it was just a really slog of 3 hours. He wasn't overly rude, but it was sort of
hard work.
It was, yeah. He's made it as difficult as possible. We were mid-table. Neither of us was going to place, and it was sort of. And I mentioned something to the judges. They came round and they were like, "Oh, he's been using it all weekend, so we don't really mind." And it was the last game, and it was just sort of, well, I mind. I don't know where his stuff is. Yeah. So that was it. I've had I don't want to be one of those people who goes, "Oh, I've had loads of bad experiences at tournaments," but I have. But that's because I've been to lots and lots of tournaments. So it is still a small proportion of people that I've played that have been. Yeah, for sure. I've had games towards the bottom of events that are so much fun, and games that are at the top of events that are so much fun.
Recently,
and yeah, it's not a reflection on the actual tournament circuit. Just those people who decide to be a bit twatty. Yeah, that one just leaves a sour taste in my mouth because it was just sort of.
Unnecessary.
The game could have been over really quickly, but because we had to continuously confirm where his models were, what he was actually doing, what his models were, the game took 3 hours, and it was like, and he won. Surprise! Yeah.
I mean, 3 hours. But that must have been around about
sixth edition. I can't
remember. Yeah, when games were a slog.
Yeah.
A real slog to play, and that
I think it was 7th because it was the second time we went to War of the Roses, and it was.
Seventh sounds about right.
Appeared in 6th, but it was 7th that it really was horrific. But other than that, I've had a bunch of bad games, but like I said, I've been to so many tournaments. I can't remember tournaments that I've been to. So that's a pretty standing. So we're going to take another quick short break just so the audio doesn't fudge up. So join us back in a second where we'll continue answering your questions. Okay, thanks for the waiting to the short interruption. What other questions?
Right, so popping next up, it's Mr. Noel Whitmore. Come on down. Remember, people send Noel your dick pics on Instagram. He is waiting. Noel has a multi-part question for us. First part, what is best in life? We all know what this is. It's crush your enemies, see them driven before you, hear the lamentation of the women. It's always that. There's no other answer. So, second part. And this is a tough choice for me.
What just happened?
That's Conan, Ricky.
Sorry.
Yeah. Who's your daddy? What did he do?
Yeah, gotcha.
That's not Conan.
It's all the same thing. I love Arnie, but he only makes one film. Simon Cohagen, give the people the air. Yeah. Second part. If you had a choice to make either Squats or Recruit a full faction in 40k, which one would you pick and why?
Oh, we all know where this is going.
See, it's a tough choice for me. I have a special place in my hearts for Squats because they were some of the first miniatures I ever had when my big brother threw a handful of metal miniatures at me and him and went, have fun with that. But I've just always found Crew awesome. And like some of the best games of 40k I've ever had was against Callum's ridiculous fucking Crew annual list, like that Shaper Council that all had eviscerators for no apparent reason and the ridiculous snipers. Well, I think they're missing a trick by not doing more with that race. To be honest, I want to see more of it. I want it to be properly supported.
I like Kroot have a special place in my heart since I pretty much played with the Kroot mercenary list for like 2 or 3 years, and I've still got it all somewhere. I think it's in like my brother's lockup or something somewhere. And I imagine they're all awfully painted and everything like that. And I have like my first proper 40k events where I was actually taking them seriously. I all took my Kroot and all of that, and I put so much work into the army. But I would probably like to see squats, because having that Kroot army locked away somewhere means that nobody else can have it. And that makes me special.
That's not what makes you special.
No, I'm not going to make that joke. No, fuck it. That'll be the extra chromosome.
No.
I think with the advances GW's made in the quality of the products they're producing, a new squat range would be stunning.
Scrot range.
How many beers you had?
That's a combination. That's squats and Kroot in the same codex, isn't it?
Codex Scrot.
Scrots.
I don't think squats need to make a return, personally. I feel that what they represented was
Games Workshop in the 1980s.
Yeah, 100%.
Bikers,
overweight, beard, sunglasses, bikers.
Yeah. And a leather jacket with a painting of a Slayer album cover on the back of it.
Squats, I don't feel any void of the Imperium or technology or anything like that isn't already filled. There would just be a short little fat guy doing the same job as what a Space Marine is.
I'm in a weird place. Like I would like to see, like, if they decided to do like a Kroot supplement or something. Like, I would be all over it. They released Kroot models and stuff. And like Scots are kind of cool, but they were a bit before my time, and they're a bit naff. Like they're just dwarves in space.
That was every 40k army back in that generation, though. It was the fantasy army in space.
Yeah,
but they've proved that they can kind of do it, and the models are ridiculous with the Kadaran Overlord range.
Yeah.
Because that's all they are. They're squats.
100%.
That's what they are.
But that feels like it fits them.
And who doesn't want a Lord of War choo-choo train? Who doesn't?
Yeah. It's a really tough one. But I mean, I would probably prefer to see something brand new.
Oh, I prefer to see something new.
But like I can't think like outside the box of the 40k universe. I have no idea what it would be. But like fishmen, they already exist. There's a cow.
The what?
Come on.
Oh no! There's actually a fish race that is 40k canon back from Rogue Trader. They made one Piscean warrior, and I would love to see that back. I imagine it will just be a Blackstone Fortress bolt on at some point.
Like
keep the nostalgia train going.
I mean, for a brand new range, I would like to see something entirely new, like the fungus with guns that's in the 40k.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
No.
I want that. It's like a mushroom with guns. That's amazing.
It's like Mario all over again.
But
there is a third part to Noel's question, and this is the bit that's been making me stroke my beard in anger because I just can't pinpoint it. And it was, what is the worst / most pointless unit?
So let's keep it in 40k.
Because I can't pinpoint something that is magnitudes of shite worse than anything else.
See, I've got a rough idea of what area we should look in.
Really?
If you were going to do a new army today, Sam, what would it be based around? No, there is there is a lot of naffety out there. it's really difficult because there are so many things that are just sort of like, why would you take it? I mean, I don't know. It's really difficult. I mean, there are some things that you would see in someone's army list and be like, why have you taken that? It doesn't do anything. But now in 9th edition, something that doesn't actually do anything can do things, unless it's like something that can't do anything but is infantry can raise banners or do an action on an objective or do deploy scrambles. Or if it's like a beast, it can't do those, but it could go grab your table quarters. It's really strange. It's a difficult one.
Definitely now. I think we were in edition before in 8th. We could go,
loads.
It's this.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh no, I know what it is.
Oh no.
It's Howling Banshees.
Yep, there we go. Quiz closed. Right, next question.
Cool, next question.
Robert Rodwell wants to know what army list we're entering into the Battleforge promotion.
So I don't.
I've not done it yet. I'm very tempted.
Now I know that we've got a month free. As you know, I've just unfortunately had to drop a lot of money on a bathroom due to leakages from roof and other water-based. So
we've only had 2 months then.
Ricky is a tsunami. Rob destroys his own bathroom. Sorry, Rick, carry on.
Sorry, what would it be, Ricky?
I've logged off. Sorry, did you not hear the beep? I don't even know what the fuck we were talking about. I've forgotten already.
Essentially, a fantasy army made of just GW models that you're going to put online and hope that GW will send you in the face.
I think it's an army that I've been trying to build for the past fucking 5 years, and it's my Wraith army. My Eldar Wraith army, I think, has been in thought in purchasing since Mel got me a bunch of stuff for my 30th. Yourself, Callum, managed to get me the old the Vanguard
Apocalypse box.
Yeah, that's it. That still sits on my shelf. I've got my Wraiths here for it. I've got Wraith Knights for it. I've got Phantom Titans for it. I've got Revenant Titans for it. It's all building slowly. That's probably where I think I'd go. Because
so I mean, I think he's probably asking for the GW competition where you're submitting an army list online and then they'll just send you that stuff.
I don't really want it
probably
already.
Not for something you've already got.
Then who fucking knows? Crew. Let's go with Crew. I want to be a number 2 in the Crew world.
Sam?
I think I would use it as an excuse to build the Ecclesiarchy battle conclave I've always wanted.
Army.
Yes, I think all the
sense.
penitent engines / mortifiers, mountains of crusaders and arco-flagellants, angry priests, maybe an inquisitor and one really pissed off fucking nun to lead it.
No, doesn't that surprise me for you?
That sounds cool.
Like loads of unwashed masses and tortured prisoners being shoved into battle.
The Imperium really is the other side of you, isn't it?
No, I would happily strap someone to a torture machine and push it into a fight.
Good man. Good man.
I submitted. It's kind of based on a list a friend of ours actually put together when the Psychic Awakening, the Great Good book came out, and our buddy Paul just dropped all of the money on like 1,000 of the Tempestus Scions.
Oh, and the Valkyries and Vendettas.
Yeah, but I was like, oh my god, I would love to do that army and do it up like Black Hawk Down. So have all of the planes like dinged and like painted in black, and then have all of the infantry that's not in those mounted in like the Tauroxes, because they're like the Humvees that they drive into the middle of Mogadishu with, and have
You
them all
can get
done
a
up.
conversion kit. Is someone making a conversion kit to make the
there's loads of them floating around. They look awesome.
There's a bunch. Yeah, there's a bunch
on that.
On wheels, and then there are some that actually make them into Humvees. Obviously, like I wouldn't do that because I would want to use it in Warhammer World. But
of course.
Essentially, like it's essentially just like a bunch of Valkyries, like 4 or 5 Tauroxes, some characters, and then just a bunch of Tempestus squads jumping out of vehicles and planes. So that's what I've gone for, just because like I don't think it's an army that I would like. I'd like to put together, but I'd probably have to wait until we get a Guard Codex now, or a Tempestus book. That's what I've entered. Like essentially just a bunch of officers, bunch of command squads, bunch of Tempestus Scion squads, some Ogrins, some Valkyries and Tauroxes.
Oh, you put Ogrins in.
Yeah, but like the list had to make sense. Like you're not going to build a Guard army without Ogrins. So.
Okay, that's fine. As long as you've got, I suppose at some point you're going to make it 40k related and not just like I fucking love this movie. I want to make this army.
Yeah, well, it's based. It's loosely based on it, I guess.
Loosely. Can you imagine? Fucking Ogrin.
just big American, Rangers or Marines.
I feel like the movie would have gone a different way if we had Ogrins.
but that's what I've gone for. And fingers crossed. Cool. Anybody else?
Pete Jarman has
through the match with the internet.
Bust through the door like a fucking ninja. And he's the first part of it is it's a multi-parter again. First part is what rule would bring you from AOS to 40k. I'm assuming he's posing that the other way around. And
what would you bring from AOS to 40k?
Yeah.
Carrying over wounds.
Nah, would ruin 40k.
No, fuck it.
Nonsense.
In combat, I feel that it could work.
No, maybe, yeah. Only because you've got a damaged 12 bloody Revenant Titan
and that unit.
That's one factor, but I feel like it would work in combat.
Possibly. Look, there are a couple of weapons that do it, like the Plague Flail and the Deathwing Night Flail do it. So it is kind of there in some way. I would like to see the not going within 3 inches of an enemy.
Yeah, that's huge, isn't it?
Instead of an inch, because there are so many buffs to charges in 40k that, like, you can almost never. Well, you can physically never fail a charge if you get within an inch.
Do you feel that the amount of terrain versus AOS though that would cause too much of a hindrance?
See, I don't know because not all of the terrain gives you negatives to charge. It's only things with the difficult ground keyword. So most ruins and stuff don't have that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just for like just the idea of like, because I found when I played AOS, like your placement has to be much better because of the 3 inches, and to try and like shore up charges and I feel like it's a bit more because you have to give that extra space. I would probably like to see that, or end of spells.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like that. Second part of Pete's question,
because that was 40k originally, though, wasn't it? You would be able to put some kind of vortex down, or I think that's obviously an adaptation from.
Yeah, there were a few of those, like the old Grey Knight the vortex grenade. In one particular edition, the Grey Knight Vortex of Doom stayed on the board as a template and moved around. I remember playing a game around at Lee's house. I'm not sure if it was with Callum or Lee himself, but there was I had at least 3 or 4 vortexes of Doom just whirling around the fucking board at one point. It was awesome.
Of course you did.
Second part of Pete's question, and if anyone has ever met Pete, they actually know that he doesn't exist and he's just an orc in a boy suit, is relating to orcs. Tin boys, mad boys, or feral boys?
Feral.
I would say
That's it.
mad boys because
Feral.
they are
because feral.
yeah mad boys because they are closer to
Feral.
the wild than
See,
anybody
I
else.
always liked tin boys, the terrible orc robots that were supposed to infiltrate other races.
I mean, I like feral because it's orcs walking around in
Yeah.
slippers.
And they were responsible for one of the greatest epic miniatures of all time, the Steam Gargant.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I just feel like swords and spears and shields, slippers. You know, this is the way to
maybe
go.
that'll be my next project. I'll make feral orcs. There we go.
Oh yeah, we go.
You've got the plastic savage boys.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Exactly.
That's a good shot.
I mean, yeah, that's it.
Now to fashion a working Steam Gargant. Third part of Pete's question. Which army do you think is vastly overrated in the current meta, and which do you think is seriously underrated? I've not played enough games lately to have any clue as to what is going on in the current meta. So I'll hand this one over to you two.
Don't make us feel like we know much more than you do.
For being overrated, just looking at the results of tournaments and stuff that are coming is sort of the only way that you can sort of do it. But AdMech appear to be struggling a bit. Now, I don't know if that's just there's more AdMech armies and that's bringing an average down, or people are able to deal with AdMech armies a bit easier because they're expecting them. And then obviously, like, confrontation aside, because an AdMech army won it. But, like, I was expecting them to entirely dominate the tournament scene at the start of 9th, and that doesn't appear to be the case. From what I've looked at anyway.
I think I agree. So from that perspective, because the Codex looked like it did absolutely everything you could ever want it to do in 9th, didn't it?
Yeah. Now
so
they've got...
almost everybody feels like they need to jump on that AdMech bandwagon, which but I'm not almost makes it overrated. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of AdMech armies at events though. They don't seem to be like out proportioning their, you know, how big they are compared to the rest of the armies. It's really
possibly not. No.
But underrated wise, we are underrating how good that book is.
No one uses that piece of shit.
It's a terrible book, I've heard.
Like, I would say maybe
underrated.
I would say maybe orcs, but purely until that Death Guard Codex comes out. Because as soon as those orcs are toughness 3 in combat against Death Guard, they're just dying.
I think craft worlds are a little underrated.
It's hard.
And that's not from a personal point of view. I just feel like no, honestly, I'm trying to be impartial. I feel they just aren't turning up much, and I feel like they've got quite a lot to deliver in this edition already.
It's really difficult with Craftworks because they do everything really well. The problem is that I don't think they do what you want to do in 9th well, because they don't want there's only a few things that you want to be in short range with the enemy, and you can only pull their sort of tricks once or twice. So for example, like Shining Spears are great, but you can only really have the one super resilient unit. And if you've only got the one, it's only 9 models. As soon as you catch it, if you can catch it in combat, it just dies. And all your
But I also feel that they got so much from Imperial Armor that it's brought them back into the game.
I mean, possibly. I'm possibly still underrating them then in that case.
Because you're looking at Lynxes now, they got rid of the Sonic Lance version, which is annoying because that's
the one everyone had, wasn't
it? And that's it. The Pulsars now are like a good few shots at 3 damage a pop. It's a massively overpowered Falcon / Fire Prism for literally like 50 points more than a Fire Prism. with an invulnerable save. It's like Jesus. Then you've got like Hornets, which are 2 damage, which is massive in this edition. They've hugely benefited with their armor, which I feel has brought them hugely back in. But you just don't still see them.
I think one of our buddies was like when Imperial Armor, the compendium came out. He was like, oh my god, all of this 4-judge stuff's amazing, but it doesn't do anything that they're not already good at. That's Maybe. The thing. It to me, it doesn't fill a hole. They're not able to control the board. Yeah. Like they're not able to hold on to objectives that aren't already in their half of the board. I feel, and they're so light on bodies that
I guess so. They still suffer from the whole. They're expensive.
They're expensive, but I just don't feel like there are many good secondary choices for them.
Okay.
Personally, anyway.
But. Yeah. Okay. I understand. I appreciate.
But obviously, I don't know. It's difficult to overrate armies that are underrated because they're underrated for a reason. But no, I get what you mean though. For sure.
One final question. Mr. Mark Pearson is back again. Another multi-part question. First half, with so many fluff revisions over the years of 40k, what is one character and or event in previous versions of the fluff that you'd want to bring back?
See, I feel like 40k hasn't actually been revised that much. I feel like a lot happened at the end of the 41st millennium over several editions because they didn't move the timeline forward. But yeah,
I think one of the biggest changes was the Necrons, wasn't it? How they worked that out was because originally it was the Catan that ruled over the Necron tier, and now they switched that around. That the Overlords kind of have a bit of a hold on the Catan,
or
because it was very much Catan based. The Catan turned everything wrong, and they've got control of this vast army to defeat the old ones and so on. But that's actually been switched a little bit, hasn't it?
It's been
the Overlords.
Yeah, the Catan hoodwinked them by making them into robots, and then the robots got pissed off and turned them into batteries.
They've kind of figured it out that
beep boop, fuck you,
like, hold on, no, fuck you.
Not really a revision, but I would love to see more stuff about the old ones. And I know it's difficult because it all predates humanity. But like the whole War in Heaven.
War in Heaven's a big thing for
me.
I love it through and through. And as a massive Eldar fan, as you can imagine, it's something I probably hold on to quite dearly. That's something that I would like to see brought back to life a bit more in depthness, because it's quite scarce, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Apart from the fact that they created a parallel universe, which is the Warhammer world, to try and start again, but that's obviously
not real.
Changed.
Really difficult. What about you, Sam? Is there anything there?
No, like most of the things that have gone are was a bit shit anyway. So like all the characters that had like joke names like Cruella de Vil or whatever the fuck her name was for the Dark Era and shit like that. Not really. Like I don't think there's anything I miss enough to want to bring it back, if I'm honest. Like
that's fair.
Like they've brought back Gene Stealer Colts. That might have been a thing. They've done that.
But they're not in limousines anymore.
No, it's a shame. I think they missed a trick there. I think you should have been able to have a limousine.
Dude.
Just a big fucking space pimp.
Love it. I definitely feel, as you say, Callum, like the whole War in the Heavens style stuff. We're talking probably a lot a lot further back than probably a lot of 40k people really remember.
Yeah, I mean, I
needs a bit of
it's
love.
Sprinkled about.
Or
in codexes and stuff. And I have to admit, I've not read the Fluff and the Necron Codex, so there may be bits and pieces in there. It's not something that they've revised out. It's just something that they've not added on. But yeah, it's like I'm a big fan of the whole old ones and Slan in space and stuff like that.
And creating the races to fight the Necron Tire, and that's a big thing for me as well. I admit I've not read the new Necron book either, but it's something I really want to get my teeth stuck into, because that's where I feel that my interest lays more than any.
Cool. Sure. Second part of Mark's question then was, in either 40k or AOS, which deity would you worship and how would you demonstrate your faith to them?
Kane. By killing people.
I was going to say, is that Kane in 40k or Kane in AOS?
Well, yeah.
Is there any difference?
Because in
fuck off. Is it changed?
In AOS, Kane is dead. And Marathi steals all of the power that's devoted to Kane, and she doesn't let anybody know that he's dead. Whereas Kane exists in the 40k universe.
So this is where AOS has creeped past what I like to believe is the two parallel universes.
Yeah, I don't think that's any.
And Kane is the same in Warhammer as he is in 40k. Okay, I'll shut up. You've ruined my life. I'm going to sulk.
Yeah. No, he's actually dead in AOS.
Kane is
well, he's obviously not, because he's an avatar.
Ricky said a bad word. Ricky said a bad word. We'll edit that.
Yeah. What about you, Sam? What deity would you
I would keep it simple. I would worship Nurgle, because then I won't die from the plague, and I will demonstrate my faith to him in the same way that ex-GW Portsmouth staffer Sam Hodson did, and let a door hit me in the bum and develop a cyst.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What
about you?
Yeah. I like Gork and Morka in AOS, because they are a single god. That split into because they want.
Yeah, that's not something I've kept up with. What happened?
So Gork and Morka is a god that wanders around.
Not Gorka.
Gork and Mork were fused into one being.
But
okay.
But they worship the Uruks worship the two different aspects of him, because the story is that once he had stomped across the universe or stomped across the mortal realms, they had an argument of what way they should go, and so they split in half, and one went one way and one went the other. So there is the aspect of Gork and the aspect of Mork, but they are like the one god. Just because that story is awesome, and the gods in AOS, like, we actually know they exist. I mean, a lot of them don't, because Sigmar went around and hammered the ones that didn't
want to join the pantheon.
Didn't want to join.
Well, that's
it. So
that's British Empire.
So there is like Gork and Morka stuff. Yeah, pretty much.
Brilliant.
Which is pretty cool. I like that aspect of all that twist on the classic like orc worshipping thing, and I like that. Obviously, Gork and Mork obviously always have arguments, so that's cool. That's rad.
That is all the questions.
Anything else? Fab. So we're going to take another quick break, and then we are going to round off the episode with a little quiz that Ricky has put together for us. We're going to watch me absolutely destroy Sam with this. So if you hold on for a second, we'll be back in a minute. You want to take the lead on this bit, Rick?
Yeah, certainly can. Let me get a stopwatch up. Let me get a stopwatch. Here we go. All right. Okay. Go for it. What are we going?
This is the bit where Ricky forgets that he said he was taking the lead.
Apparently so. Okay, cool. Fuck off. Okay, cool. Thanks for coming. And apparently I forgot that I was dealing with this little bit and everyone's taking a piss at me. So anyway, we're gonna finish the podcast with a bit of a quick fire Christmas quiz. And the way we're going to go about this is I've got 7 questions in 2 separate categories. We got a category A and we got category B, and they pretty much split across how we know 40k is today versus the rules and the codexes. Each person has 10 seconds to answer each question, and literally the person with the most questions answered correctly wins. If it's a draw, then it's the person who answered correctly the quickest. So, who wants to go first?
Let Callum go first, because it's going to be really anticlimactic when I do it.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay. Callum.
Yeah.
Category, or I say set of questions A or set of questions B?
A.
Which would you prefer? You want to go A?
Sam is the B team.
Okay, wonderful. So, let's begin this quick fire round of Christmas questions. Beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question 1. How many wounds does a cybernetic datasmith have?
A cybernetic datasmith has 4.
Boom, well done. 2. Which codex can you find the warlord trait champion of the Imperium?
Adeptus Custodes?
Question 3. How many powers does Eldrad Ulthran cast in the psychic phase?
3.
Okay. What is the maximum minus to hit roll in 40k?
-1.
Yeah. What is the damage of a Thunder Strike Gauntlet?
A Thunderstrike Gauntlet is 6.
How many shots does a Stormbolter fire in sorry, I better start that again. How many shots does a Stormbolter fire at a target 14 inches away when the shooter has moved and is in Terminator armor?
4.
What is the armor? Is there any other person that's in Terminator armor?
An Inquisitor could have Terminator armor and a Stormbolter.
Yeah, okay, you fucked me over there. But what is the armor save of Inquisitor Greyfax?
3+.
Great, thank you. Cool. That's your 7 questions. Sam.
You boy?
Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay, wing it.
Okay, wonderful. Beginning now. What is the range of a Dire Avenger catapult with the Craftworld attribute Superior Shurikens?
24?
In the current Codex Mortarion, with 5 to 8 wounds remaining, moves how far?
8 inches?
What is the ballistic skill of a Gargantuan Squigger?
5.
Red Rampage is a stratagem for which army?
The nuns.
I love it. How many inches of a transport does a model need to be in order to embark?
2.
Okay.
I don't know.
Which category can you find the secondary objective investigate sites?
Fieldcraft. I don't know. Is that a thing?
No. Which codex can you find the Animus Vitae?
Drakari.
You can, yeah. Well done, mate. You got like 2 right.
Yeah, boy.
Callum, well done, pal. You won with 7 right.
Powers, activate.
There you go. That was that.
Can Eldred not do 4 then? Or is he 3?
If you have a stratagem.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
3 is his actual rules.
Thank you very much for that, Ricky. That was a lot of fun.
It's all right. I threw that together in like 10 minutes. So I feel it's a little bit anticlimax, but well done for winning.
Thanks.
You win.
Oh.
Own at Christmas in tier 4. Well done.
I was expecting a little bit more like difficulty, but apparently not.
I'll add it to my CV.
Well
That's
done.
good. Thank you very much for that. Awesome. So I think we're probably going to call it there because I think some of us have dinner, and also we probably want to catch up on the news of the day. So I just want to thank both Sam and Ricky for doing this throughout this year. It's been
emotional.
It's just been so much fun to have something to do and to actually speak with you guys often, because chatting through like a messenger or something,
it's not the same, is it? It's nice to forget about it and then like the penultimate day before recording go, oh fucking hell.
I feel that we got a bit of a base between our own community as well, which is nice that we can bring us all together in some form, which obviously we haven't been able to do, obviously because we can't see each other too often.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like I just wanted to thank you guys for sticking with it and obviously running with it. It's been a really nice thing to be able to do every couple of weeks. Catch up with you guys, talk toys, and see how people are doing with it, really. And then thank you to everybody who listens along. I know I think I did a big bit of a ramble a couple of weeks ago, so probably we'll leave it there. But really excited for hopefully eventually being able to get out of isolations and lockdowns and tier systems and just playing games at some point. So hopefully at some point in the new year, hopefully probably Q2, we're hopefully maybe looking for some relaxing restrictions and see where we can go with it. But thank you to everybody who listens. Catch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So just a big thank you from me. Keep sending in your questions. We'll pop up posts and stuff over the next couple of weeks. We are taking a 1 week break because our next episode would be released or recorded on
New Year's Day, and I'm going to be in a food coma.
Sam's going to be in a food coma, and I'm going to be in an alcohol-related coma. So we're probably going to be recording on the 8th for release on the 11th.
Or
because an episode with just me will be
that's all about howling banshees on the 1st of January.
I mean, I can do that if we get a bit of a hands up to people.
It's 4 hours long, and there's a slide deck.
I'm good to go. I'm going to assume I'm on my own, and it ain't going to happen. But
so we'll kick off the new year with the first episode released on Monday the 11th, and then we'll continue with our regular 2 weekly releases from there, just to give us some time to recover from alcoholism. And I know we like
to get the kidneys recover.
Yeah, essentially. I know that we like to. We've been known to have a couple of drinks actually on the podcast, but and I've been hungover once or twice, but I kind of feel like we need to do what we do on New Year's Day, which is sit around and eat and drink and just sort of watch the world go by. Mm-hmm. So we'll catch you the week after that. So the next episode, like I said, will be out on Monday the 11th. Any questions, any ideas, chuck them our way, and we'll look forward to hearing from you guys again in 2021.
Yeah, have a proper crimbo, I tell thee.
Thank you very much, guys.
Peace out, homies.